Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to another episode of Funday Sunday, and we are in the Tier 8 USN Benson, and I am currently joined with Brandon and his Turpits, and this is going to be a match against some Unicom or possibly even Super Unicom players. So this will be interesting. We are currently playing on neighbors. We have a Lexington, North Carolina, Turpits, 2 Bismarck, Nagato, Fiji, Belfast, Cleveland, Benson, Kagero, and a Bliskovica. On the enemy team, there is a Shikaku, 2 North Carolinas, a Turpits, a Bismarck, a Gneisenau, and wait for it, for the division of Cancer, the Flint, and 2 Belfast. Yes, a Flint and 2 Belfast are in division together, and they are going to be a cancer to us. There is obviously 2 Kageros and a Farragut, and yeah, pretty certain they are here to pad their numbers to increase their WTR even more by this division. This division is scary for a lot of reasons. If they are top tier, which they most definitely are, almost, they are top tier as far as cruisers are concerned. There usually is no one with radar with the ability to detect them. Now, obviously, Hydro is still around, but both Belfast and the Flint do have hydroacoustics and radar themselves, so sneaking up to them is going to be very difficult. And a wild Farragut appears. Yeah, this poor Farragut is not going to stand a chance against a Benson. Check torpedoes. It looks like we did knock out his engine and do set him aflame, and he's now actually returning fire. Here actually you have slowed up quite considerably, trying to stay within cap, trying to get that cap, and there are those torpedoes which are considerably way off. Like, I don't even know how he's able to miss us that badly, but it looks like he did. There's not much this Farragut is going to be able to do, and he's just not returning fire. I think he's pretty much given up at this point. The fire is taking a hold of him. Should be able to go down here in just a moment. Yeah, that's one dead Farragut. Still kicking. Okay, another salvo, and that's one dead Farragut. So we got first blood. We will essentially take C for ourselves. That should not pose a big problem, but as you can see on the minimap, and right ahead of us is the enemy Belfast, which did take actually a big beating, and a enemy Flint. Oh, this Flint at least saw us for a second, and it is going to be a good idea to actually start retreating, pull back a little bit more. Fortunately, we did not take any hits from that enemy Flint. Now, a Flint, if you do not know, if you're fairly new, is essentially it's Atlanta with smoke and radar. So it's kind of scary. Honestly, it's very scary to deal with a Flint, and it can only be received if you completed the ranked battles for 3 seasons in a row while earning first place. Now we are obviously being detected by the enemy Belfast, or even possibly the Flint. Fortunately, we do have a big, beautiful island separating us, but unfortunately for Brandon, he just became the favorite target of the enemy Shikaku, who did drop torpedoes. Now, when I was in this match, right after I dropped those torpedoes and all of a sudden those planes showed up out of nowhere, I realized there was actually an enemy carrier. So yeah, I do have to switch tactics a little bit, make sure that we don't get possibly knocked out by the enemy carrier. We do get a torpedo hit on the enemy Turpits. Not quite the target I was aiming at. I was hoping to get the enemy Belfast as quick as possible. But unfortunately, he was able to get out of the way. Don't know if he actually, I believe he possibly reversed to pull away from that. But right now, if we can get a fire, very, very nice. This Turpits should have that fire for a while. Should be a perma fire. so that should chew up most of his health very, very quickly. And it looks like the enemy Shikaku was finally seen by I believe, by Brandon's plane that he had up around. So at least we saw, or better yet, know where the enemy Shikaku is. Brandon is currently using my smoke to the full ability, and at this point I did not realize that one of my mods that I have normally have on this, which is actually the smoke, which actually I prefer the mod smoke counter a little bit more than I prefer World of Warships added smoke counter. I'm not a big fan of their smoke counter. I think it's too small, very easy to miss. I can't even tell what time it is on that. So not a big fan of that. Granted, they do the alteration by colors, but I prefer the mod that I use whenever I do get Aslan Wow's mod on. So right now, hoping to get a torpedo hit on the Bismarck. It looks like there is a very, very low health Belfast, and we are currently being, I believe, hydroed or possibly even radared. I don't know exactly for certain. Bismarck is coming in. Torpedoes are going to go ahead and drop out. And it looks like the Bismarck chose us for his favorite target. AA is going off. Shikaku is coming back in for another drop. Going after the enemy Cleveland, interesting choice, but I believe the Shikaku has plenty of planes. And we get devastating strike against the enemy Bismarck with a detonation. So that's actually really nice to see. Unfortunately for Brandon, another torpedo hit coming in from the enemy carrier, leaving him very low on health. Tirpitz is pummeling us with his secondaries. Very annoying. Still not a big fan of having the Tirpitz with Bismarck secondaries. Get another fire on that Tirpitz. Should be able to go down, but unfortunately for us, Brandon is unfortunately going to go down. We do get a third fire on that Tirpitz as well. So he should be a goner. But yes, unfortunately, Brandon goes down to the enemy Flint. And we are down one ship, but finally are caught up. So the teams are 3-3, lost ships, 2 battleships, and 1 destroyer each. But I think it's a good time to actually pull away. There's far too many dangerous ships with that Flint and those 2 Belfast. I really do not want to stick around. Looks like the enemy Flint is trying to come around the corner to possibly try to spot me in my smoke screen. We are detected for a moment before we are able to slip outside the detection. And we do have a friendly Cleveland coming around the corner. Now, I would expect that a Cleveland might be able to do a significant amount of damage against that Flint. But unfortunately, the Flint has dropped his own smoke screen. And here, I am going to consider myself lucky. I slow up because I wanted to get these torpedoes off towards the enemy Flint smoke screens, but we are detected the entire time by the enemy CV's planes. And that was mostly due to the fact that I had my AA on. If I had it off, I probably would not have been detected. And unfortunately for us, the Cleveland has gone down to the enemy Flint's fire. So now we are 1 ship down compared to the enemy team. We are ahead in points. We've held A, B, and C for quite a while. The enemy team really haven't been doing that fantastic job as far as actually capping. I think the Cancerous team was hoping to get a lot of kills, but instead we get a torpedo against the enemy Flint. So that is one of the Cancerous teammates down. Obviously a Flint is a very dangerous target, but there are still 2 Belfast alive. Now they are very low on health, but even low on health, they could easily whittle me down very, very quickly. Now unfortunately for this Nagato, he is going to his death because there is still a Shikaku around. Now I do try to help this Nagato out because I do have smoke, but the Shikaku has arrived with his dive bombers, torpedo planes. Yeah, that's a lot. Oh no! Oh, this Nagato is dead. There's oh, he's still around. He's still kicking. Still kicking. And he's dead. Oh my word. Oh wow. Alright, so Belfast are still around. Obviously, there's no more targets that they can fire at. Belfast has shown up, came out of the smoke screen for a second. But unfortunately we're not able to get any hits on him. But we are now detected by the other enemy, Belfast, and he is actually very, very low in health, 2,000 points of health. Just need to try to keep my distance, try to zig and zag as much as possible. If we can just land 3 or 4 more hits, we should be able to take out this enemy Belfast. Now, obviously, the Belfast does not have that heal, which is a godsend, and of course, he's sitting at 100 points of health. But this should be one dead Belfast. Very, very nice. Now, obviously, he has left us low on health, but we have just earned Kraken Unleashed. And as you can see, we have done quite a considerable amount of damage. 105,325 points of damage. First Blood, Devastating Strike, and Kraken Unleashed. And our team's actually done a really good job. Now we are currently being radared by the enemy Belfast, and being weary of this, I'm actually gonna wait till that dissipates before even trying to come around to attack this Belfast. But the Belfast does go down to the friendly Lexington's dive bombers before he could even do anything. So the Cancerous team has finally gone down to the combined efforts of our team. And our team's actually ahead in points and ships. All that's left on the enemy team is the enemy Shikaku, and we now know where the enemy Shikaku is at this moment, which is obviously all the way up north. But we do know that the Kagero is over at A, since obviously the A cap is currently being captured by a enemy ship. So we know where all the enemy players are. Let's see what we can do about it. Alrighty, so I will have to say, people who get over concerned about WTR it's funny, because obviously these 3 players, I've seen it multiple times. It's usually like 2 Belfast, Atlanta, or 2 Belfast, or 3 Belfast. They're just there to really pad their numbers, just so they have a higher WTR, so they look a little bit better whenever anyone looks them up. And we are definitely well within range of this enemy Shikaku, so might as well open up. The enemy's planes are, as you can see, all the way out west, attacking the Bismarck. And went ahead, dropped the torpedoes, hoping that he would continually sail in a straight line. Now, the Shikaku has decent secondaries, not obviously the most impressive, nothing like a Bismarck. Unfortunately, speaking of the devil, the Bismarck on our team does go down to the enemy Shikaku's torpedoes, but this Shikaku is essentially helpless against our fire. We do have a friendly Belfast assisting as well. We get 2 fires on this Shikaku, which is definitely starting to burn away his health, and it looks like his fighters have spotted my torpedoes, and he is actually going to start to turn inwards. Now, there's no point getting close to enemy carriers and allowing their secondaries to open up against you. If you have the range, just open up with your guns at this range and just keep them at arm's length, because even though his planes are coming back in now, if you get one more fire, which I'm actually trying to make sure I get one more fire because I don't want his planes to launch and possibly do damage towards me. But there we go, we got another fire, and this should be kill number 6. There we go, took out the enemy Shikaku with the help of the Belfast. And all that's left on the enemy team is 1 destroyer, and yeah, there's not much you can do. But the Shikaku, this looks like the torpedo bombers are actually coming in for a drop. Wasn't quite certain if that was the case, but our AAs are actually racking up the kills against this torpedo planes. But there's nothing this enemy Kagero can do. He's about to lose just solely on points and time as well. So not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.